Why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive
health?
Look
at him, because she's an activist, not a journalist or whatever it is that she purports.
Okay, things just got even messier with the View drama because lawsuits are flying left and right. Turns out, there's way more to this story. Recently, Sonny Hostin's husband got caught up in a RICO enterprise lawsuit. And here's the kicker. Joy Behar is now calling her out for dragging her into this chaos.
All right,
they've been bamboozled.
Okay, but now that he won,
yes,
the reality and the truth is going to start to roll out.
Yeah,
and then these people will now see what the truth is. We will all see what the truth is. Did he mean it? Is the DOJ going to go after him? We'll see what happens. So
Boy, Hollywood is serving mess on a silver platter. And trust me, you're going to want to keep watching this unfold. So in case you missed it, the moment Donald Trump snagged the win in last year's election, Sonny Hostin wasted zero time sharing her thoughts. And let's just say she did not hold back. But here's where things get spicy. Joy Behar wasn't exactly thrilled about Sonny's commentary. In fact, things got awkward real quick, with Joy throwing some not-so-subtle shade Sonny's way during their usual table talk. The tension? Oh, it was thick.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have...
These comments from Sonny Hostin set the internet on fire, sparking a wave of debates and backlash. When she called out uneducated white women for their voting patterns, pointing out that 52% supported Trump, it didn't set well with many. She also highlighted how black women consistently play a crucial role in elections, saying black women tried to save this country again last night, and praised Kamala Harris's campaign as flawless. But her comments didn't stop there. She noted that Latino men voting more for Trump only made the results even harder to process. The internet quickly divided, with supporters applauding her boldness and critics slamming her remarks as divisive, and some even labeling them as racist. Many Trump supporters felt particularly targeted, claiming Hostin's words painted them in a negative light. Adding fuel to the fire, the co-hosts of The View, including Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar, showed up to the post-election episode wearing all black, as if mourning the results. Whoopi, in her signature style, refused to say Trump's name, while Behar didn't hold back, bluntly stating she vehemently disagreed with the outcome. It was less of a talk show that day and more of a wake for their political hopes.
So what happened last night? Anybody do anything interesting? Okay. The 2024 presidential race ended yesterday, and this is what the country and the world woke up to this morning.
Now, if you thought the drama was over after that, well, guess what? It's still going strong. During a recent episode of The View, Sonny Hostin stirred up more controversy, this time over Senator John Fetterman. Yep, you guessed it, the drama never stops. If you're familiar with The View, you know the hosts don't exactly shy away from stirring the pot. Things get heated, the topics get spicy, and sometimes they just go all out. But this time it seems like Sonny may have gone a little too far, at least according to Fetterman, who's definitely not letting it slide. So, what did she say? Well, during the show, she threw some serious shade at Fetterman over his visit to Mar-a-Lago. Now, that visit was already causing a stir because Fetterman, a Democrat, made his way down to Trump's Florida estate. And if you know anything about political drama, meeting with Trump isn't just a casual hangout. It's more like setting up camp in the middle of controversy central. People were definitely talking, especially since he's the first Democratic senator to make that move.
Let me ask you this, though. Since Trump's win, there's been a lot of soul-searching on the Democratic side, people needing answers on what went wrong. Do you think that is helpful, and do you think there should also be some soul-searching on the Republican side who need to analyze why they would nominate a convicted felon who ran on lies, threats of retribution, and concepts of a plan?
Her comments seemed to raise some serious questions about Fetterman's intentions. Was he just yucking it up with the enemy? Is he playing both sides? Her remarks made it seem like she wasn't too thrilled about him cozying up with Trump. And trust me, people were not happy about it. In today's political climate, you can't just sit down with someone from the opposing party without it causing a storm. It could be seen as a good thing, sure, but more often than not, it stirs up negative reactions. That's exactly what happened with Senator Fetterman's visit to Mar-a-Lago. The goal was to find some common ground, which sounds like a noble cause, right? Back in the day, it wasn't crazy to see politicians from opposite sides working together to get stuff done. Ronald Reagan worked with Tip O'Neill, despite their differences, and Joe Biden worked with Republicans like Mitt Romney to push legislation. But here's where it gets interesting. Fetterman's visit to Trump's turf was supposed to be about uniting over certain issues, even if they don't agree on everything. But Sunny Hostin didn't see it that way. To her, it seemed like Fetterman was just hanging with the wrong crowd, if you catch my drift. And let me tell you, Fetterman wasn't having it. He didn't just let her comment slide, he's calling her out the way she twisted the narrative. So, according to Fetterman's team, Hostin's comments really stirred the pot, like throwing gasoline onto an already blazing fire. And honestly, in today's media world, that's a pretty risky move. Why? Because when you're in the spotlight like that, one wrong word can blow up into something way bigger than you intended. Fetterman isn't just concerned about his public image, though he's worried about how these kinds of comments can mess with the bigger picture of how we talk about politics and public issues. Think of it like this. He's trying to draw a line in the sand, making sure that the public doesn't start believing in half-truths or exaggerated versions of the story just because the media likes to grab onto anything dramatic. And while that's all super important, let's not forget that Fetterman has built a reputation for not being a typical politician. He's not your cookie-cutter party follower. The dude's known for standing up for what he believes in, regardless of whether it aligns perfectly with his party's agenda. Which, let's be real, it's kind of rare these days. You can like him or not, but that level of, I'm going to speak my truth, is honestly pretty refreshing, especially when you see so many people towing the party line just to get by. Now, this isn't just about media beef, right? Fetterman has been actively involved in some pretty serious work that goes beyond party politics. A solid example? The way he's been working on hostage negotiations. He's been collaborating with both Democrats and Republicans to help push forward critical international negotiations, like trying to get hostages released from some of the most dangerous spots around the globe. You see, Fetterman isn't the type to shy away from working with anyone who's ready to get stuff done. He's all about results, and that speaks volumes in today's hyper-partisan climate. But here's where things get really interesting. Fetterman's lawsuit against Hostin isn't just about a TV host saying something controversial. Nope, it's way bigger than that. It's actually shining a light on how we as a society talk about politics and the way we discuss policy differences. And not just that, it's also a pretty big reality check for media personalities. You know how they love to stir the pot with bold statements. Well, Fetterman's action might serve as a warning that maybe it's time to be more careful about how political commentary gets thrown around. The narrative people push can affect a lot more than just one person. It can shape public opinion, and that's something Fetterman wants to make clear.
Just having this is going to be the president, and I am not just the senator for Democrats in Pennsylvania. I'm the senator for everyone in Pennsylvania, and my state picked Donald Trump as president, and if I have the opportunity to have that conversation, and I bet we're going to find things to work together for a better Pennsylvania and a better nation, and that's why
Now, it turns out that things have gotten even more complicated for Sunny Hostin in recent weeks, and this time it's not just the media drama with her comments about Fetterman. Nope, it's her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, who's now at the center of a major legal battle that's making headlines. Dr. Hostin, who's an orthopedic surgeon and runs his own practice, Hostin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine in Manhattan, is named in a massive federal lawsuit. And trust me, it's a big deal. The lawsuit, which was filed in December, accuses him of insurance fraud, a serious charge that could have some pretty major consequences. According to the court documents, Dr. Hostin is accused of providing fraudulent medical services, including surgeries to patients, and then billing insurance companies, specifically American Transit, for those services under false pretenses. Now, American Transit, the company bringing the suit, is not just any insurance company. They're the ones that cover drivers for services like Uber, Lyft, and taxis in New York. And according to the complaint, insurance fraud is a huge issue in New York, so much so that it's considered endemic in the state. The lawsuit claims that fraudulent billing practices like the ones Dr. Hostin allegedly engaged in are sadly all too common in the area, thanks to the state's no-fault insurance laws, which are designed to cover medical costs for people injured in accidents, regardless of who's at fault. In this case, Dr. Hostin is being accused of not just improperly billing for medical services, but also allegedly receiving kickbacks or other forms of compensation disguised as legitimate payments like dividends. According to the lawsuit, he and his practice did this for years, and now the insurance company is saying enough is enough.
Among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases, wow, Hostin's attorney Daniel Twites denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits.
For Sunny, this situation is tough to handle. As if her public comments weren't enough to deal with, now her personal life is also under scrutiny. If these accusations are proven true, it could change the way people see her family, and not in a good way. Imagine trying to balance that with your career while you're also being talked about in the media for all the wrong reasons. But of course, Dr. Hostin denies all of this. In fact, his lawyer, Daniel Thwaites, came out swinging, saying that the lawsuit is nothing but a blanket, scattershot, meritless lawsuit by an insurance company that's struggling financially. He added that American Transit hadn't even bothered to properly investigate Dr. Hostin or talk to his lawyers before jumping into this lawsuit. Thwaites also suggested that the real issue here is about the insurance company trying to limit how much it has to pay out for healthcare claims by using the legal system to attack doctors who are providing care to their clients. American Transit, on the other hand, isn't backing down. They've made it clear that they believe some providers are overusing the no-fault system, and that's what's driving the fraud claims. They argue that these fraudulent practices are part of a bigger problem that's making it harder for people who need medical care to get the help they deserve. Now, if you thought Sunny Hostin would just sit quietly while all this drama unfolded, you were mistaken. On Monday, January 13, 2024, she came out swinging with a bold statement to Page 6. In her message, Sunny didn't hold back, calling out American Transit for filing what she called a frivolous lawsuit against her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin. She accused the insurance provider of using this legal action as a desperate attempt to avoid paying for medical and surgical procedures for people they insure who are in pain. Now, Sunny wasn't just defending her husband. She was making it clear that the lawsuit was more than just a legal move. According to her, American Transit was using her public status to launch a disgusting media smear campaign, not just against Manny, but also involving her and their two kids, Gabrielle and Paloma. Sunny took the attack very personally, emphasizing that her family wouldn't be intimidated or harassed by the insurance company. She firmly stated, "Our family will not be intimidated and harassed. We remain unbowed." Strong words from Sunny, who made it clear she was ready to fight back. Being a lawyer herself, Sunny wasn't playing around. She made sure to deliver a powerful message in her statement, adding a little twist of humor with her use of the phrase, "Let me be clear. Where I come from, American Transit will receive a PhD from FAFO University." For those who might not know, FAFO stands for F around and find out, a phrase often used to warn someone about the consequences of messing with the wrong person. So yeah, Sunny was letting American Transit know she wasn't about to back down. And if that wasn't enough, the Hostins weren't just relying on words. They had a legal team ready to take action. Mark Garagos, their attorney, fired off a letter to American Transit on Sunday, January 12th, threatening a massive $5 million countersuit if the insurance company didn't withdraw their case and apologize. According to Garagos, the $5 million wasn't even a final figure. It was just an initial amount because the reputational damage caused by the lawsuit was difficult to quantify at this time. So the Hostins were ready to fight this all the way. Now, this is definitely an ironic twist. After all the heat Sunny Hostin has thrown at people like Senator John Fetterman, it almost feels like karma's coming back around. Fetterman, who's had his own battles with media scrutiny, wasn't shy about calling out Hostin's comments. He even accused her of fueling the fire, and now, here she is, right in the middle of a legal firestorm of her own. But let's be real here. When it comes to backlash, things like this aren't exactly new to Sunny. She's had her fair share of challenges, especially after her appearance on Finding Your Roots. On the PBS genealogy series, Sunny uncovered some pretty shocking family history, and it definitely caused a stir. She found out she was only 7% indigenous Puerto Rican, and to top it off, her fourth great-grandfather was a Spanish merchant who was likely involved in the slave trade. It was a tough pill to swallow, and Sunny admitted she was deeply disappointed. But instead of letting it take her down, she doubled down on her beliefs. Despite the revelations, she made it clear that she still strongly believes in reparations.
I have been told that they were printers and journalists, but they were in fact enslavers. And my mother, so
A hush fell over the
it
audience.
was deeply disappointing.
And that's when the hate messages started rolling in. Some people went as far as calling her a white girl and telling her she didn't deserve reparations. But Sunny didn't flinch. On The View, she straight up told her audience to stop sending her nasty messages. "I still believe in reparations," she said, showing she wasn't letting the trolls get to her. And just recently, Sunny found herself again in a bit of a sticky situation when she had to read a legal disclaimer on air after discussing serious allegations against Matt Gaetz, who was nominated by President-elect Donald Trump to be Attorney General. Sunny had been visibly upset while talking about the accusations, which including claims of Gaetz being involved in a child teaking and having an intimate relationship with a 17-year-old girl. During the show, Sunny expressed her disbelief at Gaetz's nomination, saying,
trafficking. How could you nominate someone with allegations of child cross or trafficking across state lines and having 17-year-old? My understanding further on in the interview, they discussed the fact that once he finds out that she's 17, he stops having with her. Well, statutory doesn't require you to know what age the person is. It only requires the age.
But just a few minutes later, the discussion was cut short by co-host Whoopi Goldberg, who announced, "Sunny, you have a legal note." Hostin, looking frustrated, proceeded to read the legal memo on air, which stated that Gaetz had long denied all allegations and called them invented, adding that the Department of Justice had closed its investigation without bringing any charges against him. Now, if you think that's it, well, Sunny Hostin was in for another massive backlash when she went head-to-head with another co-host in a full-blown altercation on The View. A heated argument erupted on the June 7th episode, and this time, it wasn't just a small disagreement. It was full of tension, sharp words, and a whole lot of drama. The panel was discussing politics, with opinions flying fast, especially between Alyssa Farah Griffin, one of the few Republicans on the show, and the rest of the panel. Things got intense after Mike Pence and Chris Christie threw their hats in the ring for the 2024 presidential race. Sunny wasted no time calling out Alyssa for defending Pence, despite having previously criticized him. That's when the sparks flew. Sunny couldn't hold back as she pointed out what she saw as hypocrisy, accusing Alyssa of defending a man she had once called out. The tension between the two grew so thick that the conversation quickly spiraled into a full-on shouting match. Alyssa was caught off guard, asking for a chance to speak, but Sunny just kept firing off her points, leaving Alyssa visibly frustrated.
Are incapable of defending a man that you worked for. I don't need to hear more from Pence for several reasons. When I lived in Indiana and I went to Notre Dame, he had a terrible approval rating because of the way he treated the AIDS crisis. A lot of people died because of him. A lot of people died because of how he handled the COVID crisis.
Well, are you going to give me a chance to answer?
The truth.
This is not what the show is about.
I
want to answer my question.
You know what? I kind of feel like I need to go to break right now.
And that's when it got even more heated. Alyssa fired back saying, "This is not what this show is about. This is Barbara Walters' legacy. Let the woman speak." The audience clapped in support of Alyssa, but Sunny wasn't backing down. She continued to talk over her, making it clear that her views were non-negotiable. By the time the commercial break hit, the atmosphere was thick with tension. When the show returned, things had calmed down a little, but fans were already taking to social media choosing sides. Many rallied behind Alyssa, criticizing Sunny's behavior and even calling for her to be fired. Some viewers couldn't stand the way Sunny treated Alyssa, with comments pouring in like, "Sunny is insufferable and she's a bully." This altercation wasn't just a disagreement over politics. It was a clash of personalities, with Sunny's aggressive stance rubbing many viewers the wrong way. The fallout was swift, with some fans saying they could no longer watch the show due to Sunny's behavior. So while the episode may have ended, the drama continued to spark online. Fans were clearly fed up with what they saw as Sunny's toxic attitude, and some even said they'd be boycotting The View altogether. Now, when we think about it, some people argue that Sunny was acting like a narcissist, only listening to what she thought was right because she's a lawyer. But here's the thing, a lot of people, lawyers included, think she was clearly in the wrong during that argument. It wasn't just about political differences. It seemed like she didn't give Alyssa the chance to express herself fully or even listen to her side. Some fans even said that Sunny's attitude was borderline bullying, especially when she wouldn't let Alyssa speak her mind.
Felony. Every legal expert I've talked to has said most likely a fine and probation if he's even
I'll tell you
convicted.
why you're wrong as this legal expert. That is wrong. And I will
He's
tell
not
you,
going to jail over
I will
this.
tell you
He's not
why-
going to jail
I
over
will tell
this.
you why you're wrong. Prosecutors are not only in the business of prosecuting crimes, we're in the business of sending out a message.
What's interesting is she's saying that you should prosecute to send a message. Now that's interesting because now I would say, and I think most people who believe in equality under the law believe that you should be prosecuting based on the laws that are on the books. So if you, I don't know, let's say murder somebody, everyone who should be treated equally under the law, and you should have to prove that they.
What do you think? Was Sunny in the right, or was she just too stubborn to see the other side of things? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going.